I'm Cori Crenshaw.
I'm Richie Suave.
And this is a Sporty with Cori and Richie Suave Comic-Con update.
Yes, that is right, Sporty Nation. We are actually done with Comic-Con. We're on our way back to Phoenix. We're actually spending our Sunday before we head back into town here at Pacific Beach, which Cori knows very well. She's been coming here since you were a kid.
Since I was 4. It's been my second home, to say the least, so I love it here. It feels so natural, and I know everywhere I'm going, and which is really nice when you're out of town and actually know where you're going, so I love it here.
This is my third time here with you and Scotty, our cameraman.
His little hand there to, give him a little shout out.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful. We're out here on Thursday too on the beach. It was a little warm, but it's perfect, beautiful weather here on a Sunday afternoon. But Cori, the reason why we wanted to talk to the Sporty Nation today is we want to kind of recap our journey, our second time at San Diego Comic-Con. So I think what we want to do here is we want to kind of rank our favorite moments from this year's Comic-Con trip. And let's go ahead and let's count down. Let's go 3 to 1. So we'll start. You go first, then.
Okay, so my number 3 would have to be going on the hashtag Join the Orville ride and hearing Richie scream and laugh throughout the entire thing. It was hilarious. He was having so much fun. I now think he should quit all of this and just become an astronaut.
I wish. That was a lot of fun. They put us in you can see the pictures on our Twitter feed. We basically sat in a spinny-majig, like a gyroscope, a gigantic person.
Spinny-majig, yes, a gyroscope.
And they spun us upside down, and it was awesome. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun doing that. So that was a lot of fun. But my number 3, I'm kind of winging this here because I know what my top 2 are. But I think my number 3 is the fact that I showed up in a video for IMDb.com. So we were strolling along on the convention floor on Thursday, or on Friday, I'm sorry. And this woman asked me, hey, do you want to do an interview for IMDb? And I was like, all right, sure. Yeah, why not? And I did not know this at the time. I didn't find out until the next day when they posted the video. The woman who was interviewing me was Harley Quinn Smith, who is the daughter of the director Kevin Smith, who's pretty popular among fanboys and fangirls.
If you've ever seen Clerks, he's the one from Clerks. He always wears a hockey jersey. Yeah,
exactly, and the beard. And so Harley Quinn interviewed me about her father possibly directing a Star Wars movie.
and he called him a YouTube personality in front of his daughter, and he also asked her if he could curse.
So I basically went on to basically shit on the fact that the possibility of Kevin Smith directing a Star Wars movie in front of his own daughter. So when I found that out, it made me feel terrible, actually.
While he was wearing a onesie of a Star Trooper.
Stormtrooper.
What did I just say?
Star Trooper.
Oh, I meant to say Stormtrooper. Sorry. It's been a long weekend.
Yes, it has, to say the least. Okay, number 2 for you.
My number 2 has been spending this whole weekend with our camera guy, my boyfriend Scotty, and my best friend Richie, of course, because they have been my 2 great pals through this whole adventure of a weekend while I was covered in black leather and overheating and almost passing out, to standing in very long lines at Ballroom 20 where we barely made it in to go see our favorite show, Arrow. So I mean, just having these 2 with me this entire weekend's been amazing.
I appreciate it, Cori. That's why I always enjoy coming out here with you 2, because we couldn't have gotten through all the mess, standing in line 4 hours to go to an Arrow panel, standing in line for 3 hours to see 2 episodes from Rick and Morty that nobody else has seen yet and won't for another week. So it was a lot of good bonding time for the 3 of us, I think. And I'm looking forward to doing it again next year.
Me as well.
Okay, so my number 2 is probably one of the off-site experiences that they had, and it was for a new movie, Blade Runner 2049. And so basically this off-site for Blade Runner, you go inside and they have a bunch of different props from the Blade Runner movies, and as a fan of the original movie, it was really cool to see kind of all the costumes and these props, like the gun that Rick Deckard used in the original Blade Runner and in the 2049 movie, seeing some of the stuff that Ryan Gosling is going to be using in the new movie. So that wasn't cool enough. We also got to, and Cori, you know me very well, I'm a fan of great alcohol.
He's an alcohol snob and a beer snob.
Exactly. I'm not an alcoholic by any means, but I enjoy a good beer.
He just likes the finer things in life.
Yes, and a good whiskey or a good bourbon or a good scotch. So after the experience was over, we got to taste Johnny Walker Black, Johnny Walker Red, and Johnny Walker Blue. And that was awesome because all my friends are jealous because I got to try Johnny Walker Blue before them. And it was freaking delicious. I'm going to go home and buy a bottle just for myself and drink it like for a month straight.
You can't forget the noodles, though. We
yes,
also got
noodles. The noodles were amazing as well. A very good staple of the Blade Runner franchise as well. So 3 and 2 are done. Cue the music. Our number 1 is what?
Having one of the production people at Arrow tell me that my Black Canary costume was so great and that she was going to show it to the costume designer of Arrow. I literally almost died. I worked so hard and spent over $100 on that costume, putting it together piece by piece. I searched Amazon for hours. It was definitely a loving project that I had to work very hard on, and the fact that she said it was so good and took a picture of it, I about died. I was so happy. And then Lord Mesa, who's also gotten a shout out on the show, also said that it was a good costume, so I was like, pretty much winning. The only thing that could have been any better is if Katie Cassidy herself, I was Laurel's Black Canary, and she was Laurel. Before she died, rest in peace. But
Spoiler alert.
But I love the fact that I actually put together a costume that they liked, and that was definitely my number 1.
It was really cool because you were walking around the floor and the entire day, and you got stopped multiple times by several people shouting out the fact that your costume was amazing, and you can see pictures of it. I think we have it up on our Twitter account already, if not on your personal account.
Yeah, and I also have on my personal account because I bought a Black Canary statue, which was the exact one I was dressed up as. So there's a picture of me as Black Canary with a Black Canary statue.
And there was also one thing that you haven't mentioned yet. There was one of the people who asked you for a picture on Friday made a pretty funny joke that you really liked about your canary cry.
Oh yes, they told me to keep my voice safe, thinking that I can actually do a Black Canary cry, which if I could, that would be really cool, but I genuinely can't.
Yeah, I think we can put that in post, really, like they do on the show.
I'm not even going to attempt that one. I've already done a Chewbacca noise, so we're just going to leave it there.
Okay, so my number 1 is a pretty easy one. So for the second straight year, we got into the Arrow panel, which is our favorite show. We talk about it constantly, and if we could, we would do an entire podcast every week just based on Arrow.
Yes, I love Arrow so much.
So we got into the panel for the second straight year after waiting in line for 3.5 hours? 4 hours?
Yeah, it was pretty close to 4 hours, and I was checking Twitter every 5 minutes to see what the front of the line was doing, because we started outside through a bunch of tents and down the stairs into other tents down the stairs. It was very long and very tiring, and my feet hurt.
Yeah, so we had to stand up the entire time too. So in addition to walking around on the floor on Friday, we went back obviously for the second day on Saturday, which is when the panels were, and we had to stand in line for another 4 hours after walking around. So our feet right now are complete and total mush, and somehow we're still walking.
Yeah, well, we're standing in sand right now, so it helps, but it's a little bit warm.
Yeah, exactly. So my number 1 is going to be during the panel for the second straight year. We got to sing happy birthday to my favorite actress, my one true love, Emily Bett Rickards, who plays Felicity Smoke on the show. And I thought that was pretty fun. We did that last year too.
Yeah, I actually dressed up as Felicity Smoke last year. That's how I actually started watching the show. I used to watch Smallville, which is where they kind of got the Arrow spinoff from it, for all of you nerds who know that. And but one of my old bosses, when I came in wearing my glasses one day, I said, "You look just like this girl from the show that I watch." And that's how I actually officially started watching it. So I did that because it was very simple. I could literally put on glasses and her charity shirt, and it was very simple. And this one was much more complex. But yeah, it was also a really good moment for me because obviously you guys know I love Felicity Smoke.
We have one more thing to do because we do it all the time. I don't know. Are you ready for a Cori's Corner or no? Because I have my Dick of the Week ready.
I don't know if my Cori's Corner will interfere with your Dick of the Week, though, because my Cori's Corner is going to be about the lines at Comic-Con.
No, it's not. It's
okay, good. Okay, we hadn't planned this out, so, but we're just on vacation fly right now. But yeah, mine would definitely be about the lines at Comic-Con and about parents who think they're entitled when they bring their children to Comic-Con. Seriously, there's people everywhere. There's gonna be lines everywhere. You have to stand for hours and hours in line. Just because you have a kid and your kid wants to get into the pineapple doesn't mean that you have an excuse to get into the pineapple before anyone else or to yell at any of the employees that work there. For you two that are now laughing because you know the confrontation I had. But yes, we did get into the pineapple. Just eventually, we let that guy who said he had a 7-year-old, the 7-year-old was nowhere to be found, go ahead of us. We were the bigger people. But yeah, it would mostly be that, and it would just be the fact that I think they sold more badges this year because the lines were insane. And it shouldn't take you 5 hours just to get into ballroom 20. It's not line H, people. We weren't camping out. Like, it should not be that bad.
Absolutely, I agree. We can go on for hours about how awful the lines were this year, but I'll wrap up with this and my Dick of the Week. It's a very special Dick of the Week this week because when we got here on Thursday, we went to go play mini golf. Mm-hmm. 3 of us, me, you, and our producer Scotty, and I lost. I finished second, and we made a bet before Scotty and I did that if I lost, and I lost by 4 strokes, so it was pretty close, I would be my own Dick of the Week. So I'm going to call myself out for this. Richie, C, Suave, Flores, you are my own Dick of the Week for losing in mini golf. Good night and good sports, everybody.